Test.
Is there grudges?
All right, hold on. I gotta look cool. You recording this?
Lame.
Jarvis.
Look good? Don't leave me holding it like this. What looks good? Turn around. Testing. 1, 2. Testing.
We're not going to hear it.
Well, you can hear it a little bit.
No, because I won't hear Leo.
I want to hear myself.
The intro thing, whatever, it's too loud. Oh, okay.
All right, I want everybody to understand that if you sit in the back of the room, I'm going to get you with questions. So if y'all want to move up front, center, like in school.
Then it's easier to get your questions.
You know, the teacher always picks on the very back
That's
row.
true. The bad kids sit in the back.
3 of you in the back row. That's right. Come up front. Don't be shy.
And it is Q&A, so you have to.
You see how
Yeah.
everybody's looking at y'all back right now?
We won't be able to hear the-
Damn, they're looking at me.
There you go.
Look at they're thinking.
Come on.
He's like, come on, let's.
Uh-oh, he's in trouble.
Guys, pull on my chain. Oh, if you get up and leave early, that's my next question.
I like
Who gave
you.
Permission to leave.
Not you so much.
Oh, thanks. Oh,
Just kidding.
Dog, are you there?
I am just fixing one thing real quick.
Okay. Okay, I don't want to leave them sitting here going like, what do we? The dog's in the box.
He's in the box.
Dog, say hi to Thom Mathews
Hi, Thom Mathews.
and to CJ Graham.
Hi, CJ Graham.
If you talk into the mic, he can actually hear you.
I don't want to know who you are.
It's Dog.
Doug. Oh, I think
No,
it's
dog. No, Dog.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was
DOG.
in the military.
Yeah, I
during
didn't want
issue,
to.
He
guys.
can see us,
I
but we
didn't want
can't
to
see
offend
him.
anybody by calling him God, so like I went with Dog.
He went the other way.
Yeah. I'm dyslexic. All right?
What kind of dog are
Me
you?
too.
Chocolate Lab.
Charcoal Lab.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, that's a ginger joke.
Well, at least he didn't call you a poodle.
Yeah.
And we are live from Tidewater Horror Convention. Panel coverage brought to you by Toking with the Dead and the Dorkening Podcast Network. And here we go.
Hey, welcome back to Tidewater Horror Convention. This is the panel for the Friday the 13th, Part 6 fans. This is Thom Mathews and CJ Graham, and that's where you all.
Speech.
No, don't do it. No, I'm so sick of it. So sick of it. I want to get rid of it. Yeah,
Speech.
it's my last panel of the day. I'm so happy.
Right?
Oh, so we get sloppy seconds.
Yeah.
Oh no, this is
No,
like.
it's actually sloppy thirds.
No,
I think
no,
we're
no,
up to
no.
12th, actually,
I'll come back with
CJ.
you.
I'm
Nasty.
used up, dirty, been strung out.
Are we still live?
All right. Now, I was unaware that I was doing a panel with both you. Thought I was doing panel singly with you, so I had questions made up for singles. But it's okay. We're going to combine them together. And guys, by the way, we all know that I'm not a horror.
Pull it together,
huge
man.
horror
Come on.
fan. I got it all. Hold on. You're
We didn't
the
even know you
first.
were going to be here, to be
Yeah,
honest.
I
there
know.
you go.
CJ, you walked by me a million times, didn't even say hi. I was very upset. Like you talked to everybody else but me.
Yeah, but you grabbed my ass.
And
every
well,
time.
that's it is sweet. I'm going with Thom first. Thom,
Okay.
there's a little chart in the Return of the Living Dead that
Yeah,
has
the eye chart.
baffled me.
Yes.
And what's the last lines of it say? It's Bert is a cheap son of a
Son
bitch.
of a bitch.
Slave driving. Oh, sorry. Bert is a slave driver and a cheap son of a bitch who's got.
I have no idea.
Nobody knows. I try to
Who's
look it up
got-
online. It's not there, and it disappears the next scene. So who's Bert? Oh, who's going
Who's going
bald?
bald?
Who's Bert?
Bert.
Yeah,
He
I
owns
don't-
He owns
didn't know.
the owner of You Need a Supply.
Why
Medical
was
Supply
the
Warehouse.
art chart changed out?
It wasn't changed out.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the next scene it's a regular
Oh,
eye
really?
chart. Yeah,
Huh, weird. I don't know.
yeah. I watched the movie a few times.
Okay,
I'm
but
sorry.
you don't know who Bert is.
I wasn't. I thought it was one of the people on
I
set.
smell a rat. I don't know.
I thought it was somebody on set.
Uh-huh. One of the characters. It was somebody on a set.
No, I
The
meant
actor's
one.
name was Klug Uliger. Okay, who just passed.
I'm sorry.
That's cold, man.
I know.
Thanks
I
for bringing
know.
that up.
Well,
Done his
CJ, over to you now. Can I offend you quickly? Hold on. Yeah, he can.
He's bulletproof.
Favorite way to kill?
Any way I can get away with it. all right?
Slowly.
So I will tell you my favorite kill in Friday the 13th Part 6 was the sheriff.
The bend
Hitting him
over.
backwards.
Mine too.
No blood, no guts, just pure powered guts. And it was kind of a cool stunt how they put
Very
the two
good.
bodies in the ground.
Yeah.
One was in the actual ground and half of another person out. It was kind of sweet how simple but effective.
So I saw dailies of it, and it was haunting without all the sound effects and stuff. It was like so pure, a clean kill. It was just
Pure force.
amazing. I loved how his feet go up at the end. You're snapping his back. That was so great.
So
He's a neighbor of mine, actually, David Kagan. I see
Is
him. I see him walking on my street like once a week.
Their feet
So what are you
still
haunted?
attached?
He's been in my neighborhood for like 30 years. I've lived there for 20.
And your neighborhood is where? I couldn't
I'm not
find that
telling you. Are
online.
you
I was,
kidding? Watch the movie.
man. So when there's a scene with Jason in that one specifically where you're standing
In
over
Friday
a
the
little
13th,
girl.
part 6, you mean?
No, where he's standing over the little girl and he's like she must have been freaked out with you in the makeup and stuff. Like her acting right there must have been easy. Where do you go when you're sitting there staring at this little child and like, because Jason doesn't kill children, which I really appreciate. I have always my kids are into horror, and I watch Friday the 13th, and I explain to them, no worries about Jason. He's not going to touch you. It's me. He's going to kill.
Not till you're
And that makes
15 or
them happy.
16 and you don't listen.
Yes.
At that age, you're open territory.
So what's going through your head when you're doing that?
Well, let me be politically correct and pretend I'm a politician. You gave me a question, I'm going to give you an answer. It's not effective to the question. but it's
Thank
an
you.
Answer, right? That makes sense. The young lady we're speaking of is 43 years old now, give or take
Wow.
1 year.
Same
And
age
about
as
a
me.
year ago,
That's-
she contacted Tom McLaughlin that her 6-year-old son wanted a hockey mask, but he didn't want one from Target, a white one. So I sent Tom McLaughlin an autographed mask. He autographed him and sent it back to her to give her 6-year-old son.
That's awesome.
So I mean, to answer your question indirectly, she's 43. Her son's 60s, which would have been 14, about 7, I guess. To think about that your son wants a hockey mask from a movie you were in when you were just a young
Yeah.
lady. So, but like I said, Jason doesn't hurt children. 15, 16, you become open territory if you're not focused.
After puberty.
It makes
Especially if you're having
sense.
sex, right?
Teenagers.
I wasn't going to say that, but
Yeah, I know what you
dogs
think.
in the box, so I don't know if they're going to listen.
Did somebody in the audience have a question? No.
All right,
Nobody?
yet.
go home,
All
everybody.
right,
Thanks for
guys.
coming.
Turn and burn.
All right. We're going on. Okay. Question number 2 for Tom. Are you yourself a horror fan? Do you enjoy watching these?
I wasn't. What I enjoyed about being on the set for a Return and Friday was the filmmaking aspect of it.
Yeah.
That was interesting, and it's basically just a big puzzle that you put together. So that's always fascinating. I do like horror movies. The Thing is a very The Omen, The Exorcist, all those. A friend of mine was in The Thing, so that was fun. I've done. His name's Norbert. He was the Norwegian who gets killed in the beginning. We've done several movies together, but and I loved the Zombieland. Not so much the second one, but the first one was fantastic.
Do
It
think,
was great.
do you think zombies should eat brains or people?
Absolutely.
Okay. Good answer. I like that. And should zombies talk? I don't get me
One
wrong.
of my
I
favorite
love
scenes
that.
in Return of the Living Dead was to have this where we chop that woman. That was my favorite scene in the movie where they have a conversation
That's
where they're saying,
fantastic.
why do you eat people? And she goes, not people, brains. Stops the pain of dying.
I had
So
to watch-
that always fascinated me. So that was a kind of a cool scene. And her spine jumping back and forth. What's that? Who's the voice? I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure.
No, I hadn't watched it since I was a kid, so all I had
You
remembered.
thought I did the voice,
before
didn't you? Because I
watched it
just
again-
this is pretty good, huh?
Before I watched it again, all I could remember was the paramedic scene where they're like, "Send
Send
more
more."
paramedics," and I loved it. Like as a kid, me and my brother used to joke about it all the time. It was hilarious.
Send more meat.
Yeah. being Jason, CJ, what's the weirdest? Like horror fans have let me down with this question. I've asked Michael and Tony and everybody else. What's the oddest thing somebody has brought you to have signed? Like at Comic Cons, I'm a big comic nerd and stuff. I've seen people bring fake prosthetic legs to people to have signed and stuff and weird stuff. Horror fans, you guys are like, here, can I get my picture taken? Anything odd, like a piece of skin, like a head, a decapitated head, anything.
Well, not real, but I have.
Well-
I've signed the leg somebody took off in front of me. And
Oh,
had to sign
nice.
it.
Oh, so
Yeah.
you've had the amputated
You know,
leg.
the most
The-
common
not
thing is
prosthetic.
people just say autograph my skin so I can get a tattoo while I'm here.
Yeah.
And they'll come back 2 hours later with your name autographed under a hockey mask or on their
Nice.
sleeve somewhere.
Any one of those that really stood out to you that was like kind of like, oh man, that's actually cool.
Well, the leg was cool because he walked up with a peg leg and then took it off and handed it to me. I mean, it was a real peg. I mean, he was like leaned on the table, took it off and handed it to me. I mean, I thought that was unusual.
What was your most difficult stunt as Jason?
I think being underwater for me was the most difficult because I was stuck there all night long, going up and down, looking at the camera lens. But Tom did probably 95% of his stunts underwater as Tom. The only difference between him and I was chained down, so I wasn't going anywhere no matter what. It was a real chain. But we would both signal for safety divers, and they'd swim in and just, it's pitch black, you don't see nothing. So they just push that regulator in our mouths and clear it. And we start breathing, and then periodically they'd hook me, and we'd both come up and watch and take a look at the monitors to see how it looked from their perspective, and then we go back down and do it again. But the reason for me is because number one, I'm wearing a hockey mask, so I only see this, and again, it's pitch black, so you don't see nothing anywhere. There's just me and a chain, and I'm standing on 2 center blocks, so at the same location every time I went down. With all the wardrobe and the gloves on, I mean, when I'm out of air and I'm signaling, I'm out of air. I need something now. I don't have time to try to freak out and try to get this, figure out where the loop is and get it done and go to the top, the water. And there was a diving pool, Olympic-sized diving pool. The only benefit to Tom, to be fair, was he did 95% of it down there with me, but if he got in trouble, I assume he could go to the top. He goes, I'm going that way.
My jacket was kind of heavy.
Yeah, the jacket was heavy. That's true. But that was
Boots.
probably the roughest for me, only because, let's be fair, folks, I never done a stunt in my life when I did this movie. So every time you see me, when I'm lit up, when I'm going through doors, whatever, there was no practice. It's like, go to work. Okay. And I got stunt bum. So I was like, hey, these checks are cashy.
Nice.
Let's do it again.
Any grudge between you two since you're the only sole male living survivor of Jason? Tommy Jarvis, like,
Between us?
yeah, nothing. You don't want to.
No, if you put us in character, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But other than character, no, man, I got his back.
Do you guys follow the whole mythology there? I actually just learned the crazy mythology about how the game connected. You had a dream about Freddy Krueger, and like that's how it connects Jason versus Freddy and stuff. It's like really kind of crazy, in-depth stuff. You don't
Well,
follow that at
you-
all.
You know more than I do.
The writers and directors are pretty creative in their own mind, I mean,
Well,
they
you're
connect
even
dots,
now.
I'm not sure about half the time.
You're even now Jason's father.
Elias Warrior.
Yep.
Agent and Vengeance.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty impressive how you kind of transcended the time and stuff. It's
Well, they Vengeance 2 comes out October 28th, so that'll give an opportunity
Cool.
again for some additional cameo surprises. I'll let it go at that. And again, I'm back to having a full beard and long hair and playing Jason's father, Elias.
well, that brings me to what about the brain fart? Never Hike Alone 2. Is it coming
Yes.
out?
We just shot the teaser about a couple weeks ago in Portland.
Nice.
That's going to drop on the first Friday, the 13th, which is in January of 2023. And then we're going to shoot the principal photography in around August sometime.
See, those are the end of my horror questions. So
So-
now we're going into nerd stuff. Okay. So please ask questions if you want horror stuff.
I have a question. In Friday 13th, Part 6, it's not really a comedy horror. So, what did you think of the scene with paintball?
That was hilarious.
So you guys may or may not know this. The paintball scene, when the paintballs hit the belly, that's not me. because I was the second choice for Jason. The person, the stunt coordinator, the stunt man that got it, that's him. Most people just assume I'm more in padding. He's a little thicker than me, so that's why you go, oh, he's a little big, but he's wearing padding. No. So the paintball scene I didn't shoot. Now the arm, the happy face, that all goes back to me again, and then everything in between. But the interesting thing about the paintball, Tom McLaughlin wanted to do a little bit of comical into it. So that's why there are things most of you are too young to remember. In the 80s, they had a lot of commercials about American Express, never leave home without it. And that's why you see the card floating down. There's no comment, but it's going down after Nancy, his wife, gets whacked, and it's never leave home without it. And they see this little American Express card floating. So from a humor perspective, if I recall correctly, Tom was told by Paramount Studios that you can do little comical things here and there, but don't make fun of Jason. And as you can tell, there's nothing fun about Jason. There's those never leave home without a, what were you going to do when you grew up, some of that kind of stuff. But the seriousness, other than that was Frank Mancuso Jr. from Paramount Studios that said you just can't make fun of Jason.
Anybody else? All right.
Yeah, silent
Tom.
crowd.
Your nickname's Tiger.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
My dad.
Tiger. Hey, Tiger.
Yeah,
That's it? Just your dad?
my dad
And it's followed you through
gave me.
life?
Yep, my family and friends call me.
Oh,
That.
I'm sorry I did that to you.
That's
I
okay.
thought there was going to be a cool story.
Maybe you're my brother or
Maybe.
something. Oh, yeah. No, this girl back in the '60s, that was a real tiger.
That's what
Yeah,
I
baby.
thought. Like, what's
Yeah,
going
get it.
on? She was a tiger.
No, my dad. It was just a big
I
story.
thought it might have
I got on my hands and knees when I was a baby and cried like a tiger. That's what he told me.
Let's hear you roar.
Maybe
Come
I
on,
had a
roar.
huge foot size or something. I don't know. had a really
That
big
went
foot,
nowhere.
so.
I'm sorry.
Right straight to the bottom.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So for you, when you're doing the zombie scene, because you're pretty goofy in Return of the Living Dead, which I thought was fantastic. It's too.
I didn't feel goofy, but
No, you were two goofballs running
Oh.
this place, and I'm just like.
I
how
was
did
just
they get
working
the
there,
job?
man.
I know,
Okay.
but how? You guys are like, let's go open this thing up. Watch, don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Frank was messed up.
Hey, y'all
He was-
late.
he was
why,
sho-
why you coming
He
in
was
late?
showing on. What the hell?
Oh, dog, get
You
him.
got the key to the city, I see.
Yell at him, dog. What time were we supposed to be here, dog? Dog?
That's okay.
Oh, this is going nowhere, dog.
Dog
We
is.
lost dog.
I got. You guys have a
Oh,
question?
you have to ask a question.
Did you bring a question at
You
least?
guys know me, Michael Myers?
I'm Leatherface. How you doing? Thank you.
Oh yeah. Like that one person in the porta potty, like how did you do it? How did you kill? Was it like
You mean in the motor home? Sit down.
Oh, no.
So your question is, I killed Darcy DeMoss, the girl in the motor home in the bathroom, right?
In
So
the
how
house.
did we do that? Well, that was shot on a set with a round area, and Darcy DeMoss is her name. She kicked the shit out of me. And I mean that. She was told, because I had to hold on to her very tight so I wouldn't hurt her, but still not let her get away from me. And so her job was to kick. She beat the hell out of me in there, and kicked the crap out of the walls. I mean, if you ask her, if you ever get to meet her,
She's tiny too. She's not that big.
yeah, she's petite. She just whacked the hell out of me. But she did such a great job because she always worried about, oh God, I hurt him. No, I'm fine. Little bruises. But she did her job. And the biggest thing for me is making sure, even with her, I took her head and threw it into a camera lens. And I had to stop, and it was such a close up of her POV. So I didn't have to wear the mask, but she gave me that freedom of her head and throwing it into a lens quickly and stopping. The same thing with Tom in the motorhome. At the beginning, I take a real knife and gouge it towards his head, and then they stop and then they go to the backup knife where it looks good.
That's Tom Fridley.
Yeah. So you got to realize those folks, including Tom, trusted me. They may not have done it if they didn't know, and I'd never done a movie or stunts before, but there was a lot of confidence, I think. and I was just privileged to be there and to work with them. But yeah, Darcy kicked the shit out of me.
Go ahead, man.
How did you feel killing Horseshack?
Oh, that was
Right. A
fantastic.
fan favorite. We all loved Horseshack. Thanks a lot. They had a scene where in the dailies,
your fault.
I saw the dailies when he punched through, he had his heart in his hand, he drops it, and it bounces on the ground, and then he steps on it, which got cut out because of the rating. Yeah, it would have been
They
cool.
had some really
Squash.
well. See, in today's elements compared to like when you see Vengeance 2, there's a scene with a heart, and it's completely different than back in those days. And my understanding is that in those days, to put all the blood and guts that you wanted into it, you see every day on ABC and NBC. Today on normal TV would consider an X rating back then. So they all got kicked off.
Yeah.
To
Well, they were very, 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 very hard on Friday the 13th to the
always,
franchise
Yeah.
because they got a lot. They felt like they got away with a lot of stuff in the beginning, so they came down hard on the franchise.
It was your fault.
Yeah, man.
It's true. Thank you.
I need revenge. Yeah. My mom.
Say that again.
Oh man, I just totally. Oh, what's the last movie you watched, CJ, that made you cry? You seem like a sensitive kind of soul. I've watched you. I've been stalking you for a little while. I've watched you around con. You are the nicest person. Not to say that you're not nice, Tom, but I've seen you interact with so many people throughout the con. We're staying on the same floor. You don't know this probably.
I heard you screaming.
Yeah. It was a rough night. But what makes CJ Graham tear up a little bit?
No.
I mean, I don't know about the word tear up. I mean, I am like most people. I'm just as sensitive as the next person. The question is, are you allowed? Well, I'm older than y'all, so when I grew up, big boys don't cry. Now, y'all may argue with that today from a psychological perspective that it's good for boys to cry. Yeah, okay. But I don't feel it hurt me that I don't. But I feel, and I'm sensitive, but it's not. I'm not really. I don't know. My dad died when I was 3, so not having a dad, I'm not really. People go, well, how's it feel not having a dad? I don't know. I never had one. So, I'm not an ultra sensitive person. I hear that from my wife all the time. I get a periodical lecture every other week.
You're way too sensitive.
Yeah, well, I don't think about that all the time. It's like, oh, well, we're together, aren't we? Married, right? What's the problem?
I'm still here.
So, I mean,
don't love
I
me,
do
I'm
those
still
things with gifts and flowers and yada yada because that's a good thing.
It makes a difference to her.
It makes a difference to her. When we first started dating and stuff, I would send her roses every week. And for her at work to get roses, she was like,
What do you mean it worked?
her work.
Oh,
It worked.
I'd send her. She worked for PG&E in Cali, and I send her flowers all the time. And everyone's like, "Why do you guys get flowers? Is he in trouble?" No, he just sends them to me.
So
what do you do?
when you take your wife out to go see a movie, what genre of movie do the two of you like to watch together?
Dude, I don't remember the last time I saw a movie with my wife.
Yeah.
Well, see, there's your mistake right there. Forget the roses and
I know
candies.
that she went and saw Maverick with her niece a couple weeks back. I waited till it was on the TV for $15. It just made logical sense. Why I got to drive when I can watch it from my TV in front of bed? Hey.
I haven't been to a theater in 3 years now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, a lot of people. I mean, it's like Tom. You don't recognize him from some of his films because he had some makeup on. In other films, you do recognize him from. The same thing with me. When people find out you're Jason, it's more of the jaw hits the floor, like, no way. So I say, well, if you want to Google my name, Google it. And when you pull it up, it's like, oh my God. And at that point, the whole attitude changes. I still go to Outback Steakhouse, not Outback, I apologize, Texas Roadhouse, where I live. And I was there a year ago, and some of the
bread and
waiters
butter is
found out who I was. And I still go about every 3-4 months, and I walk in and somebody remembers me, and before you know it, there was a girl with 3 guys at a table next to me, and finally said, "I don't know who you are, but can I get a photo with you too?" All the waiters kept coming up, the waitresses, "Can I get a photo? Can I get a photo?" "I don't know who you are, but can I get a photo too?" She just figured, well, everybody wants a photo with me. It must be somebody. So
That's pretty funny, actually.
yeah,
So Tom, do you collect anything? Like any, or do you have any hobbies? What does Tom
Yeah,
do
well,
when
I
he
have a
relaxes?
construction company, so that kind of keeps me busy, and 3 kids, and they're
That-
grown up now.
That's not a hobby. That's
No.
more stress.
Yeah. Hobbies. I used to golf and paint and different
Once again, more
things.
stress with
Yeah.
both of those.
No. Paint oil on canvas and stuff like that.
Oh, I get so stressed
Really?
out. I'd be trying to paint a pretty picture with Bob Ross and the tree.
Well, like I told you, I heard you yelling last night.
Yeah.
You're a stressed individual, man. You're high strung, bro.
What about you, CJ? Do you nerd out about anything?
I collect guns.
Yeah. What
Bullets.
do you got?
I ain't telling.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, sorry.
Do I look stupid?
Yeah.
I got one, but I got less than 100.
That's
You got a
good.
safe room?
I have an arsenal, yes, and a safe room. I wouldn't call it a safe room, but it's got safes in it.
Do you have a man cave?
There's
My
a
safe's in
there's
it.
a location.
Do you get to go out and shoot them a
My
lot?
shit's in it.
Yeah, I have a small ranch, 20 some odd acres.
What's the largest
Caliber?
bullets- caliber? Yeah. Thank you that you're shooting off there.
Listen, I stay with 3 calibers:
I won't.
308, 5.56, and a 9mm. If you have more than 3 different sizes, you can have all the guns you want, boys and girls. But if you ain't got no bullets, what good are they?
Mhm.
So you can have this, that, but when the bullets are out, you got nothing. So I just stay with 3 different calibers, 3 different brands. Real simple, simplified.
Usually in the movies, when you run out of bullets, you throw the gun.
Right, exactly.
Yes, I do have some machetes.
Yeah, right.
I will tell you.
Throwing
it's some
stars.
How
nunchucks,
handy
too.
are you with
Nunchucks.
those?
I'm backed up all the way to back up.
Jeff, guys, please.
Jeff?
Jeff
Jeff.
over
Oh,
there.
I didn't know you were here.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just kind of letting him run now. As far as the what I consider the classic horror films, you know, back in my day, back in your day, because you're as old as I am, I think. Who is your favorite slasher besides the character you play?
That's to you.
Oh, you have to be.
You're, a
Okay.
slasher.
yeah.
You're a slasher.
Oh shit, man!
I'm
I
a
thought you were talking to
slash
him. I'm so
defender.
sorry. I know about the word slasher. In the old days, go back to the 60s, 50s, and 40s. It wasn't really a slasher
Mhm.
unless you're watching Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde per se. But I love all the Universal old school with Dracula, Werewolf, Frankenstein.
The mummy.
Creature
They're
from the
cool.
Black
Mummy.
Lagoon.
Mummy,
Those
yeah.
four-
The mummy.
Is my mentality of the blessing that we've had over the last 30 or 40 years with, you know, taking a look at Jason, Michael Myers, Leatherface, and of course, Freddy Krueger. So it's kind of like the 4 musketeers of the 50s and 60s, and we're the 4 musketeers of today. And those with Scream and all the great films that are coming out, now they're wonderful and people are enjoying them. And I wish them the same success in 20, 25 years, that y'all are still going to embrace them as we've been embraced.
I find that a lot of the newer horror movies that are coming out are just
Not
trying to remake some of the classics in a different style, and it's not working for me because it's not new. You need something new,
I
you
don't know.
know.
I mean, Tom knows much more about the directing, acting, and being on both sides of the camera than I. But personally, from a personal perspective, I think the movies of the '80s are a little different because I like Fast and Furious, but how many times can you fall out of an airplane, land on a tank, do a backflip, pick up a 50 cal,
And survive.
still what exactly?
Right, right.
When it comes to a Jason, I mean, we all get home. For anybody's got a backyard, even an apartment, and you look out the window, and I'm standing there. That's freaky and can happen. But a guy dropping out of a tank, yeah, it's really cool, and I like watching green screens and all that. But you get that back to the simplicity of, not as much Freddy's getting a little wired, but Michael
Yep.
and Leatherface and Jason, that's pretty wicked.
Now, what about the sci-fi horror? You know, like the aliens and the predators and
I
that
think-
kind of stuff.
I mean, I like Alien and Predator both. And sometimes people ask, what do you think about Jason going against Michael Myers? And I'm not a big fan of Alien versus Predator or Jason versus
Mhm.
Michael Myers or whoever, just because if you can't carry the film singular, I think you take away from one or the other and you're kind of dividing.
To me, it kind of made the whole. It made it all a joke.
Yeah, the division factor.
Yes.
Well, you like Predator, but now you got to make a decision.
Right.
Who do you want to win?
I love them both.
Yeah, and you do. So I'm more of I think when people go, who would beat Michael Myers? Well, number one, I use a machete. He uses an Outback steak knife. All right.
You got the reach.
I'll let it go at that. But at the same time, I don't think it would be profitable or logical for the two characters to clash in a film, because I think you're going to lose on both sides.
Yeah,
Okay.
it makes them homogenizes them, makes them less.
Yeah,
think.
too bad.
I agree with you.
There's no customized.
Right,
So
right,
I'm,
right.
Predator, I like those though. The Predator films and the Alien films. They're special.
Yeah, they
in
are.
a way.
Yeah,
Fantastic. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Now, did you see the new one, Prey?
Yeah, I think that
That was
young
really
lady
good.
did an amazing job. She's a serious badass.
Yeah, no, I love that movie. I liked how
I like the
it
fallback,
explained a
going
lot
back
of
to-
going back. Yeah,
I like
Native
the whole,
American
yeah,
culture
the
and
whole
how it
historical
resonated.
stuff.
That seemed like one of the fan films, like you guys are both involved in the fan films, right? Is the studio looking at those saying?
I think they
"Let's
should.
Do something?
They should.
Because they're really good.
The fans
They're very
know where the mythology and how to keep it one of us, not me specifically, but like one of you guys putting together one of these films, it makes more sense because you care about it more. You want. I
It's
mean,
not
not
a
to say
paycheck
other
to you, it's
directors
passion.
don't care, but yeah, the passion is there.
If I was a director or a writer, and I'm just an ass like everybody else. But if I was a writer or director and going to put together a new Friday the 13th, the first thing I would do is use social media to find out what kind of kills the fan has involved in. What do you think we should do? Because there have been so many kills resonated and repeated. But I know fans out there have some really cool kills that have never been done on screen. I mean, the reason I say that is that recently I had this big torch and a propane can, killing some shit on my, grass and shit on my ranch. And I looked at this propane thing and, damn, this would be cool to kill somebody at Jason's. It's never been done where he burned somebody with this. I think, wow, that'd be a badass kill. So I would like to hear what the fans have to say and make it some type of contest, maybe a cameo even, where they get to at least be in it or get whacked. But think if you come up with some good kills from the fans. You're passionate. You're passionate for 40 years. You're passionate for 12 years, and you haven't even seen one yet, since 2009 when it came out. So I think some loyalty needs to go back to the folks that have put us here.
Now, what do you think about one of my favorite old classics is I Spit on Your Grave.
You spit on my grave?
I will if you want me to.
$20 gets you a few shots.
As far as those old, back in the 70s, because I personally think that like the Friday the 13th and when those came out, it kind of, like the I Spit on Your
he's
Grave
great.
became it didn't get its notoriety that I believe it should have. That took years later.
And that happens because the next generation views differently. He knows everything. He knows everything about those films, and he remembers what was said in his film. And with social media, now you've got 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 connecting dots. So I think that it could be beneficial. To
Okay.
Look at. Again, for me, I'm just fortunate to be along for the ride. I'm on his coattail, Tom's, and the other folks that, like I said, their resume is long on my arm. I was just fortunate to wear a hockey mask, and for whatever reason, it's become iconic. So I'm just appreciative.
What two horror movies would you wish would have been in?
Okay, so if you'd have been here and paying attention 10 minutes ago, you'd have heard me tell
Yeah,
you
I know.
Universal.
When you said that, I said, like, you didn't get
No,
it.
I really like it. As soon as you answered it, you had the old answer, didn't
For the
you?
last 40 years.
No, I still love Universal. In fact, I have all the box sets of Universals, the black and white. So you
He
can buy.
totally lied.
What?
I asked you what you collected and stuff.
I don't collect them. I have them.
That's
I
collecting.
have a
box set.
And he has a bunch.
I ain't collect them.
He's got 150.
They were
Yeah.
like $15. I took all of them.
Yeah.
There's the Dark Lagoon, or there's
Creature from the
all
Black
of them.
Lagoon. Yeah.
I'm like, these are cool. But I mean, I just think they're casual, cool, and think about what Boris Karloff and all those folks did back then to make up their own makeup and their own.
You should
special
talk
lights.
to.
You got to talk to Bill.
He used to hang with
of course.
his daughter and things.
So you look at that. I mean, I'm in awe when I see that because, damn man. So when I see everything that like Tom Savini has done, Steve Johnson and others, of course, I'm just kind of amazed at what they've done. But going back to them when you did your own makeup, you created your own creature. I mean, that's pretty cool, and that's really talented. And, I don't have that talent. I need to sit there like somebody, doing
Stencil
stuff.
your eyes.
But I do like that. I mean, respectfully, want to be sarcastic to you. I really like those black and whites. I just think they're special. I mean, but I didn't get off on Frankenstein versus werewolf, for instance, going back to Predator versus Alien. It didn't do the fudge for me, but I like the singulars of each one of those.
If you go back over the years, like that's what.
Well, the Frankenstein, obviously because of Jason, because Tom McLaughlin was a universal horror fan as and it was quite clear when you come back to life, I don't want you to be a zombie, no disrespect. You don't want to be a zombie, but he wanted me to have some type of intellectual connection of the dots. And we both referenced Frankenstein taking away power from the girl in the water side. Now, you don't know if he killed her, you just assume he did. But the point is, go back to the little girl. Now you start seeing the dots being connected and the connectivity of brain cells as Jason goes on.
Anybody else? Right there.
Yeah. I've heard some of the actors in the panels this weekend say it was surprising to me that they didn't know what project they were going to be with when they auditioned. Did you both know you were going to be in Friday the 13th, or like, and then what happened when you found out?
Yeah, the title, the working title was different. It was called Aladdin Sane, but it was pretty obvious. Yeah, David Bowie's song. That was the title. That was the working title of the production too. So people didn't know it was Friday the 13th on location where we were at. So if anybody found out, they wouldn't come by and stuff. Although this one kid found out, this 12-year-old kid came up. You weren't even there. We were sitting around in between shots, and this 12-year-old kid come up, and I go, "Excuse me, can I help you?" He goes, "Yeah. Is Jason around?" I said, "Yeah, I think he's over there, doing something. Can I help you?" He goes, "Can I give him a message?" He goes, "Yeah. Could you ask him if I leave my window open tonight, will you tell him to come and kill me?" Did I ever tell you that? I swear to God, it was the weirdest thing. I said, "Sure." And the true story. And he left. So to avoid that, they changed the title of the production. And I don't even know how he even found out. Maybe through one of the locals or something.
You actually would have the knowledge of this. CJ doesn't, because I know you weren't on set as much except for when they were shooting your scenes. What was the actual atmosphere like on set? Like, was it more jokey when he wasn't around, or was it? It
was light. Tom, it all boils down from the top. So Tom was very mellow, and he knew the shots that he wanted. So it wasn't a lot of stress going on. Yeah. It was very mellow.
And it's at a summer camp. So
yeah.
Kind of chilled out.
It was, there wasn't a lot of stress, a little bit depending on the day, but it was pretty mellow because of Tom.
Yeah,
But the atmosphere changes when he shows up.
Never heard him yell once or
he just kind of
nothing.
Told me what he wanted in a
Yeah.
character, and he said, "Go to work."
Were any of
Boom.
you actually scared of CJ?
Who?
The guy.
CJ.
Jason.
No.
That guy.
Were you scared of Jason?
No, not really.
No.
I mean, it wasn't.
You know who he is until he puts the mask on.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't really hanging out. CJ's kind of
be-
he kept to himself to kind of keep that illusion going on.
Yeah.
Didn't talk much. But,
Method actor.
yes.
Snapping necks in his break room, over in the trailer.
But yeah, he kept to himself.
I knew because, like you heard me say when I did the skit, they said we're going to cast you for Jason. So I obviously knew what it was, but it didn't dawn on me the magnitude or the confidentiality or, I was just there to do a job.
Or the film. I mean, Tom did a great job with the script is great and the cinematography is great in it. I mean, there's even a little romance going on with the characters and stuff like that. I think
No, I was happy to go back and watch that
it wasn't
one.
just a slasher.
I have to rewatch a lot of
Yeah.
movies, and that one was decent.
Yeah.
I was very
It still holds
happy.
up. It's still good.
Now, do you think they kind of overdid the franchise as they kept on going?
I don't.
I didn't ask you.
I don't care. I have answers.
You'll go first.
Well, for me,
You can overkill something.
I always like at least it to be lineal in thinking the franchise, and there's none of that with the franchise. I don't think so. It was a disappointment, but
Okay.
I think, with part 13 comes out and like Tom McLaughlin, he's working on a part 13 if he can get into working with Mr. Miller, since it seems he has the rights now. But, you know, if I recall correctly, Thomas wants to call it, not that Jason lives, but Jason is back, or Jason never dies, something neutral. But I would like to see whoever takes on part 13, which should be the biggest. It's got to be a launching platform like 6 was. And then I hope they think 2 or 3 down the road, so there's some connectivity rather than doing
Continuity,
Mhm.
yeah.
this. You know, I mean, you know, that doesn't make sense. But now that, you know, Elias has been exposed to the system and Jason has an opportunity, and if Mr. Miller has an opportunity to think about it now, because now you have something that's substantial. We all learned a lot from Harry Potter, you know, putting a storyline together that just flows. So, and some of the others have been put together like that, you know. If they continue and think 2, 3, 4 down the road mentally and make sure the dots are connected with each director and writer, I think you might have a winner there.
I agree. I think that would be
Yeah.
great for an actual storyline that continues on and on.
Great.
Anybody else? Oh, yeah.
Another question. With the Return of the Living Dead, I feel like we've been here before.
Yeah.
Was there any thought of maybe doing 3 or 4 with you in it?
No. No. We're lucky we did the second one. I mean, it was just, I mean, you know, everyone died in the first one.
Right.
So it's like, why did you come back on this one? We came back because
You guys were hanging out with
the
some
Japanese
weird kids.
distributor, when they had the script for the second one, they pre-sell it. Back in the day before streaming, you would pre-sell it to each country. You go to France and you go to the distributor. Do you want to distribute this movie? You can have the rights to it after we make it if you give us a certain amount of money. So that's how they get the money, the seed money, to help finance the movie making. And so when they went to the Japanese distributors, they said, yeah, we'd love to do it because it was a big hit here, but can you please bring back James Karen and Thom Mathews? So that's why we came back. And I did it just to work with Jimmy. It was just, you know, fun to do it.
Right there.
How was it working with Robert and
Well, we got to
Oh.
call Ken because he's in Vancouver, and he was the Jason that played Jason in
Oh,
Freddy.
Yeah,
vs.
he's
Saul.
part 6.
Yeah.
Let me get my phone.
All you guys look alike, CJ. Sorry.
You want me to call him? I'll find this shit out right now.
It's the same guy who came in late too.
Yeah,
So
I ain't
that's
lying.
a good. Oh, got your number.
No, I'll call him. I got the number. And if he answers, shit, we'll put him on the spot. Hey, guys, you know, they just, you know, said I was you, so they got a question you can ask him.
That'd be cool for my show. I get another celeb on. Shoot up, dial.
You want to try calling Kane Otter while we're on? I mean, hey, buddy, what's up? I called Steve Dash, but he passed.
And now I could be like, yeah, I've had Kane Honor on it.
You know? You want to talk with Tyler Maine? We'll give him a shout.
Right. Well,
Yo,
yeah.
yo, excuse
Name
me.
dropper.
Y'all stand up, please. Y'all
Oh.
late. Did you bring a note?
Hall pass.
Yeah.
Do you have a question?
How you doing?
Why not?
I just came to hear you guys talking.
Oh,
Cool. Yes, sir.
How
Oh.
far did you throw? Did you toss Tony when you stabbed him with the fence post in part 6? I know he was on wires, and he looked like he went like halfway across the world. And I was dying laughing at that. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Because that was a dummy that I threw.
That was a dummy.
Yeah.
I thought he was.
I mean, it was him. No, it wasn't wire. That was me hitting him and then stop, freeze, and hook the dummy up and throw it, CJ.
That's awesome.
so that was all you just.
He threw him to the next.
Yeah.
I will tell you that really, I mean, to back up a little bit, you asked me about what was a good scene. The scene with Nancy, Tom McLaughlin's wife, and him when they're in the Volkswagen and he gets out and then he's done. When Nancy is in there, that's a real spear. That's metal. It's a real window. There's no knockaway window. That's the real deal. And everybody, Tom, you think you can break the window with it? Or do we need to put a fake window? So if you look closely and watch it next time, you'll see me hit that window. It explodes. I start over the steering wheel with the spear, and then momentum put me down through the passenger seat. And thank goodness everybody went down to the ground because I'd have hooked them. Because once you're halfway down, the momentum's taking us away. But that was a real spear and quote unquote real force and a window when it exploded like that. So, that was kind of cool. The fender was just a scene. That was just a close up POV point of view, and they just had it all set. Yeah, I went right through it. That was easy. I used to be. Yeah, I was the kid when I was young. Now I'm old and old.
No. You got good questions.
They actually did do a versus fan film
Of Mike and
Oh, did they?
Yes.
Wasn't much dialogue.
Not a lot of talking.
Now you're a comedian.
And then a few words.
They saw
Y'all missed all this. You late. You should have been here earlier, man. We were having a good time.
Yeah.
They saw each other in the woods, and Jason was like, "Okay."
And who are
Who
you?
are you? They both
Yeah.
looked at each other like,
This is my territory.
Yeah, and they went at it for like the whole movie, and nobody said anything.
And nobody died. Nobody did anything. It just kind of like poof, it's over.
Nobody died. No.
Yeah.
Well, that's a boring horror movie.
When was the moment that you both realized the gravity of the characters you've taken on in these films, and how much horror fans have really come to adore you?
Back in the day, horror fans were kind of frowned upon, along with soap operas and stuff like that. So, it took several decades, for it to carry on, and for for 7, 8, and 9 to come out too. And then they reflected back on what how much they liked part 6, because that may have made 6 better. I don't know, but it's a fan favorite. So, for decades for me, I mean, it just it still had legs,
I think it picked up in the 90s. If you go back, has anybody ever been to Comic-Con in San Diego? We did the 8-box release back then, and we all got to go, that had been it to be a Comic-Con. And just the magnitude that Comic-Con itself has become with all films, mainstream, Fast and Furious, mainstream. I think that was a good launching platform. And then again, as Tom said, it's I want y'all to look around. Look at the diversity in this room. Horror. We could have this much fun at a carnival or at a concert. It'd be great.
Right.
Greatest folks I ever met, at these conventions. I mean, they're just, nobody's judging, nobody's looking at each other different. Everybody's amazed by the different costume and or people that are walking through in suit and tie. They don't care. So the last 2 decades, I think, has been amazing in watching it grow to where their horror cons, it's a commonality now. If you start talking about a horror at the printer, making copies at work, and all of a sudden you talk about it, really? Oh man, I love horror. My mom and dad and I watched that. My little brother watched it. I used to sneak around the corner and watch it. And people have that commonality connection because of horror and Comic-Con. And it may be Star Trek. Truckee started it about 2 decades ago too. They really started getting into their thing, right? I mean, I remember the Hilton, Las Vegas Hilton in Las Vegas had a completely section that was all Star Trek stuff, and they used to have the conventions there, So I think it's pretty nice that everybody has a commonality. It's unexpected when you walk in.
Any other questions? We're down to our last. Oh,
I got one
from the internet.
Okay. So both of y'all can answer this. We'll start with Tom, because we're talking about.
Damn.
Are there any roles that you turned down that you regret?
Oh, that's
Turned down. No, but I no. I did audition for Platoon, which I was heartbroken that I didn't get that part, the Charlie Sheen part. That just because that just spoke to me, that part. So I had big disappointment for that. And I met Oliver Stone because he was in bed with Hemdale, who produced Return of the Living Dead. So it came right after that. So he was met him over at Lionsgate, and he was editing Salvador, which is a great movie. With James Woods, fantastic movie. So he was in there editing that. I had a meeting with him, and he went with Charlie for some. How about you?
Hemdale Films. So here's the connectivity. It's funny because Hemdale is the company that bankrupted in early 90s that did Highway to Hell that never got a national distribution. So it just tells you how those films and then the company BK'd. And so when Highway to Hell came out
Gibson,
around,
yeah. John Daly.
So they're all connected. Yeah. John Daly. Yeah. He was a producer, executive producer on Highway to Hell. And you guys know Ben Stiller?
Yeah.
He was in it for like 7-8 seconds. Yeah. I don't know what he does now, but my point
Whatever
is,
he wants.
they're all kind of connected. And I find it kind of nice because, you know, I didn't know that, by the way. When you said Hemdale, my little ears perked up. You know, that film never got.
We need to talk.
Yeah, it never got distributed, but now I didn't know these John Daly, for instance, all these folks are connected to it. So it's interesting how the industry, for me, as an outsider looking in, you know, after I left in '91, I went back in the casino industry and stayed for 25 years. So, you know, again, resume is this big compared to these folks, but I'm just fortunate to be here with them.
Is there another
didn't-
genre that you would
You
like
didn't
to?
answer the question at
I know.
all.
Yeah, no, he didn't.
Awesome.
My name is
No.
CJ Graham, and I approve this message. What, I got to tell the truth? Oh, shit, true.
Is there another genre besides horror that you'd like to be able to star in and act in?
I think Sons of Anarchy missed their chance with you.
Who? Oh.
I could see that.
Right?
Yeah, I've got a
Instead of
big
Ron
dog
Perlman.
chopper in my garage and a Harley in
real.
my garage. So
I'm a
I
dork,
got bikes.
so like I
Got an Indian in
these
my
guys
garage.
all the time.
No.
Yeah.
And I don't, now that I don't do the casinos, I have the flexibility. You know, I'm older, so yeah, I can still do the parts. I ain't doing no stunts because when you're young, you tuck and roll. When you're old, you go thump.
Right.
I'm old. I go thump.
Right.
Well, last time my horse put me in the fence was 5 years ago. It hurt. All right. So, but I think like the Sons of, one of those I could probably do. I mean, Yellowstone, being a cowboy
that'd
out
be
there.
cool.
Love
or,
Yellowstone.
you
Great
know,
series.
Great show, yeah.
I could see, and you always think about it, I could see the family having a woodsman grandpa that lives way out 50 miles from nowhere, been out there for 100 years. And, it's the old fart like me out there, I
Name
can see
Elias
that.
Elias
Yeah, well, I'm just
Voorhees.
saying, there's a lot of cool things you could do, but I also think it's nice to see how, Yellowstone, 883, and those type of films are coming back to mainstream to folks rather than bang, bang, shoot it up with green screen.
Mhm.
But there's more naturality. And those folks, man, they're pretty tight on those shows. But yeah, I think bikers I could do no problem at all. I mean, I've got the image and stuff and the tats to go with it. So I think that'd be fun. I enjoy riding my bike.
You could do well on it too. Yeah.
So, but you know what? Again, I'm just Tom. Tom and the folks that have done this, and PJ out here, and everybody you've seen. I mean, they're freaking amazing.
Right.
So,
Right. But drama wouldn't be for you.
why?
I could see.
I can't see you in a drama movie. You know. But
I'm gonna do what you call that show? Days. What'd you say? Days of the
Days of Our Lives.
Oh, Days of Our Lives.
Days of Their Lives. Come here, girl.
You should do it on Spanish television, though. It'd be way better. Telemundo. Hello.
I could see you doing book covers too, like Fabio
Oh,
and
there
stuff
you
like
go.
that.
Is it butter? No, you know what? I'm old. I mean, my older look is probably more distinctive than my
Rest-
younger
he'd be
look.
the restless
I'm more
part.
mature.
He wouldn't be the young part.
Yeah.
So I don't know. If something happens, great. I mean, I have a SAG cards and I've kept it all these years. And about 4 years ago, I took it out of. I put it into honorable withdrawal,
Uh-huh.
and then I paid a small fee and activated it a few years ago. So I mean, I do have. The
So he's
opportunity.
ready.
So, but I'm just waiting for
Right.
Tom to take the
Tom,
role.
write a role for you.
Well, I'm going to follow his footsteps. He needs a bodyguard.
Yeah.
As soon as he gets that $2 million picture, I'm going to be his bodyguard.
There you go.
I'd like to see you in a movie with Clint Eastwood personally.
You mean young Clint Eastwood?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
His son,
Oh,
though, I
both.
guess.
Either one.
I don't think he walks no more. No, his son, though, his son's sharp.
It's like when Jimmy Karen from Return of the Living Dead got older. He goes, "Yeah, I'm still acting. I can walk and I can talk, but not necessarily at the same time." He also said, "I said, you're still. I mean, what's your routine?" He goes, "Yeah, because you're so. I mean, what's your routine when you get up and your day-to-day stuff?" He goes, "Well, about 7:00, I get up and about 7:00 in the morning, I take a leak. About 7:30, I have a bowel movement, and about 8:00, I get up. I get up out of bed, and that every day. That was his routine.
Life is good.
That's James Karen.
Anybody's got any final questions? We're down to our last 5 minutes. I'm ready to do my Mary F. Kills. Nobody. Okay.
All right, do it.
You guys ever play Mary F. Kill?
No.
All right, Mary F. Kill. I give you each 3 options. With those 3 options, you have to decide one to marry, one to kill, and one to have relations with. I've been told I have to say Mary Sex Kill by the Norfolk Virginians. Yeah, I just learned how to say Norfolk.
What's Norfolk?
Yeah, that's where we are, Norfolk.
Oh,
Oh, you guys keep changing it. You guys keep
I thought we were in
changing it. on
Norfolk.
me.
No R.
What?
F-O-L-K. Norfolk.
Yeah, see, that-
Norfolk. Norfolk.
You guys keep changing.
Norfolk.
I'm done. But Mary F. Kill.
Norfolk.
I'm gonna.
Did you
start
guys
with,
get that?
What were the options again? 1, 2, and 3?
Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold on. Who am I? That's CJ. I'm going. Yeah, CJ's first because
Good.
he talks a lot. You'll end it. All right. So for CJ, we got Seraphine from American
Kill.
Werewolf in Paris.
Kill.
Ooh, okay.
Right off the bat. Done.
Santanico Pandemonium from Dusk Till Dawn.
Kill.
You can't. One.
Whoa, you
Look,
want?
I got 18 kills. I'm gonna do what I want.
and Gozer from Ghostbusters.
Oh, bust his ass.
That's a girl.
I'm gonna bust her ass.
All right.
Right. So he does.
I'm gonna bust
Uh-huh.
that
Yeah.
shit.
He doesn't want to marry, and he doesn't want relations.
Man, why you
He
gotta
got all
make it so
black on us now.
I don't talk in the movie. I just do.
I just kill.
All right, Tom. Yours
Kill.
Lily Munster.
Oh,
Morticia
Mary. I'd
Adams,
marry her.
Morticia Adams
And
and Mrs. Brady.
Mrs. Brady. Well,
Yeah.
now that we know all her history,
sorry.
I think we have to kill her.
Anything else on
No,
it?
that's
No
it.
marries, no.
Marry the first
relations?
one. Yeah, that's fine.
Lily, and then I guess
Yeah.
Morticia gets the Tom.
Brains.
Anybody else?
Spicy brain.
Norfolk.
Damn, you hard on the beaver.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's our panel for today. Thank you all for coming
Thank
out
you,
to
guys.
Tidewater Horror Convention.
Thank you.
CJ Graham. Make sure to get to their photo ops. I don't know which one's first or which one's next.
Yesterday.